Now, who here can relate to this scenario? What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a singer.
Are you useless? Got no future one. I think you better become doctor.
But Dad, I don't want to be a doctor.
In that case, engineer can?
But Dad, I don't like the idea of being an engineer either.
You are tough customer. I think lawyer. Now that sounds almost comical, and it is. But this is a conversation that's being told, that's being had all across Asia today. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, what is something you want to achieve? What is something you want to achieve in this life? Could it be graduating with honors, finding love and starting a family, changing the world? We all have individual hopes and aspirations that all together come and create our ambition. Because what we achieve and what we strive to achieve are both integral parts of our character. The reason why I work as hard as I humanly can is so that my father will finally shut up. For years, I've been told that I was inadequate, too stupid, too lazy every time I failed to meet expectations. My father made sure to drill into my head that I was a disgrace for ever daring to get a B in maths. Now, I'm not making myself out to be some kind of tragic hero, because this is just a way of life over here in Asia. But thankfully for me, this style of parenting has served to strengthen my resolve, to push me forward in order to achieve my goals. And as Macbeth said, I have nothing but vaulting ambition. And the only difference is that it is not going to overleap itself here. Other children have it much worse. Although outlawed, caning and corporal punishment is still far too common in Malaysia, especially people living in rural areas. And it's not uncommon for kids to be beaten in public schools when they fail to hand in their homework. Parents have high expectations, and consequences are often unpleasant when those expectations are not met. A stark contrast to that of the West. The general sentiment there is that if you're not cut out for the university way of life, you can still do many things. You can start working, you can go to a vocational school, even take a whole year off known as a gap year. That mentality is virtually non-existent over on this end of the world. Here, from a very young age, we are taught that if we did not excel academically, we were finished, that we would end up sweeping the streets. The common threat was always, if you don't study hard, you're going to end up like Beth. And them would always be pointed at construction workers, maids, janitors. You see, Asian parents, especially those from the older generation, have a rather closed-minded idea of success. And now you've all heard of the stereotype where Asian parents are only letting their kids become doctors, lawyers, or engineers. I'm here to tell you outright that that is false. They also let you become accountants. You see, they tend to base success based on two things: wealth and prestige. Why? It's simple. Because that's what they can brag to their friends about in the coffee shops. It usually goes a little something like this. You know my son Wong, huh? He's a doctor. 6-figure salary. He graduated from Stanford. And you'll rarely ever hear parents go, you know my boy, he's a painter. He doesn't make much money, but he's happy lah. It usually sounds a bit more like, you know my boy, useless. I tell him art got no future, he still want to do. Cannot make money, how come? You see, in Asia, things are a little bit more family-orientated. You're expected as an offspring to support yourself as well as your family. Represent your family. Feed your family. Bring honor to the family. It's all about honor and prestige. And you see, the thing about doctors, lawyers, and engineers is that they're viewed as high-status professions. And having your son or daughter be a doctor is akin to a status symbol. In fact, it's the ultimate status symbol. And you'd better believe parents are going to do much of anything to get there. It's almost as if their ambition is for you to have an ambition that aligns with their ambition. But in the process, creativity is crushed. Individuality suppressed, and personal hopes and dreams thrown away until eventually the child comes and says, "Mom, Dad, I want to be a doctor, lawyer, or an engineer." Now, this did not happen to me. I chose to do law of my own free will. But the fact that it happens to anyone is already an injustice in my eyes. And it should be an injustice in your eyes as well. Because we're losing more than just artists. We're losing visionaries, game changers, those that dare to flow against the current. You see, if we lose that spark of individuality, we lose ourselves. Everyone in the audience, I want you all to do me a favor. Close your eyes. Everyone close your eyes. Visualize your future. Picture yourself at the very pinnacle of your success. Visualize where you want to be. Got that? Now, how does that make you feel? Feels like euphoria, doesn't it? That tingle you feel coursing throughout you. Whew! It's like you've got the whole world sitting in the palm of your hand. Now imagine something else. That image being ruthlessly ripped from you. You being denied access to it. Your idea of perfection being taken away. Now how does that make you feel? Angry? Frustrated? Vexed? Now imagine the same thing happening to children across Asia. Now you know what I feel. When my brothers and sisters of my generation are being barred from even trying to reach for that ideal of themselves. And that brings me to the next part of my talk. How our ambitions are an integral part of who we are. Who we are affects who we want to be. And who we want to be affects who we are. It's poetic, isn't it? You see, your ambitions may change over the course of your life. They may change for different reasons. They may change with your interests, what you enjoy, or they may change for the sake of practicality. Whatever the case may be, your ambitions are a part of you. And they're just as much as important as your eyes or your lungs. Because you see, there's a difference between living and existing. Existing is easy. It's drifting day to day. Where survival is the only thing on your mind. Wake up, get ready, work, come home, unwind, sleep. Wake up, get ready, come home, unwind, sleep. Wake up, get ready, come home, unwind, sleep. This happens with no thought of the next day, or the next month, or even the next year. Living, on the other hand, is a bit more like wake up with passion, get ready like a champion, work with vigor, and when you come home, screw unwinding. You keep on working because you like it. See, with ambition, we think of the end goal, right? We think of what we want, and once we get there, we're not satisfied because we want more, because it's human nature to want more. We go for what we want, a house, a car, a spouse. And once we get that, we keep going. Another house, another car, maybe not another spouse, but you get the picture. Ambitions drive us forward so that we may live the best lives ever. And that is a part of you. And you should never let anyone force you to be someone you don't want to be. So what does this mean for all of you sitting here? That's simple. You in the audience, you may be 12, or you may be 50. I don't care. There is something that you want to get done. Something you want to see through in this lifetime. And you should not let anyone tell you what you can or cannot do. It's up to you to test those limits, to test your limits. In fact, it doesn't matter if you're 100 years old and could die tomorrow. In fact, if you could die tomorrow, all the more reason to do something today. In a study amongst people over 70 years old in the US, what was found is that what they regretted the most was not what they did, but what they did not do. So don't make the same mistake. In conclusion, I have two last messages. One to parents, and one to everyone. Parents, lighten up. Your kids aren't extensions of you. They shouldn't be treated as such, and they don't deserve to be treated as such. Cultivate their talents, and temper their abilities. And instead of molding them into your preconceived idea of success, try to teach them to find their own. And to everyone, kids, teens, adults, there is something you want to do. And you should not let anyone force you to do something that you don't. Because your happiness is your own. And dreaming big and dreaming small are both equally great, provided that those dreams are yours and no one else's. Now, I'm not saying don't consider others in your ambitions, but you should, above all else, aspire to what makes you happy. Because no one on this earth is going to work harder to make you happy other than yourself. And before I go, I want everyone to close their eyes once again. Visualize your future. Picture yourself at the very pinnacle of your success. Envision you at the top. Got that? Good. Now make it happen.